Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. How are you feeling this morning? Happy day 178 of the year. Hopefully you're having a nice slow yin start to your day wherever you are in the world. You're being grounded, present, here and now, focusing on your breath, observing the natural world and starting the cycle of a new day in a nice, calm and peaceful way. According to 365 Tao by Deng Ming Tao, our word today on day 178 of the year is childhood. So that'll be interesting to see what this little book of wisdom has to say for us about that topic. So grab your book, grab your journal and something to write with. Find that nice, quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while we read together. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in with long exhales out to regulate your system. Be here and now and present. And let's start reading together on day 178 on the subject of childhood. No, no, no. This ruins a child. Children are one of the most precious aspects of life, and yet they often are mistreated and abused. If you are a parent, your most important task is to raise your child with as little trauma as possible. Firmness, consistency, and patience are essential. There will undoubtedly be times when you have to correct a child to prevent mistakes and bad habits. However, when it comes to a child's curiosity, individuality, or initiative, there should never be any discouragement. In that sense, it is wrong to say no. Wow, that's a really strong passage and a really interesting start to this chapter for today. I'm going to just say now, maybe I should have prefaced this, but this might be a little triggering for some people that perhaps didn't have the most idealistic childhood and are still dealing with traumas or in therapy or have, estrangement issues with family members. So if that applies to you, just proceed with caution around today's passage. But there's some, really interesting sentences here to pull out already. Obviously, this is going to be a very poignant reading for today, but something here that I think is really, really important to remember, that what it says here, when it comes to a child's curiosity, individuality, and initiative, there should never be any discouragement. I think that's a beautiful thing to think about as adults. And perhaps you want to take a moment to reflect on your childhood if this was true. And if you're a parent yourself, maybe take a moment to think about those words as well. Curiosity, individuality, and initiative should always be celebrated and encouraged in a child. There is a legend about a thief who stole into heaven and took the peaches that gave immortality. He returned to earth and was about to eat them when he chanced upon two little boys. Taken with their intelligence, he asked them riddle after riddle and the deepest meanings of life, and they answered with laughing ease. The thief decided to share his peaches with the boys, and they all became immortal. If the boys had their curiosity killed early in life, could they have answered well? If a thief could be kind to children, then can't the rest of us too? And if the children never had an opportunity, could they have become immortals? Wow, so like I said, this might be a triggering passage for some of you today, but this is actually part of life. This is the yin and yang of life. Unfortunately, not all of us had pleasant childhoods, and sometimes these reminders might be quite painful, especially if it's something that you're actively working on. But this can be a really, really great way to have your journaling practice, especially those difficult things in your life, difficult moments, difficult emotions, especially if it's something that's quite traumatic to you. Writing about it can be very, very therapeutic. So I encourage you to reread this in your own time, feel the feels, feel whatever comes up, and write about it. Don't censor yourself. Don't feel like you need to not say something because someone's going to read it, or you need to be, maybe I shouldn't say that. Write freely. Feel everything that you're feeling and let those words flow through you with your emotions, through your pen onto the paper. It's actually a very, very therapeutic process, especially if it's something quite triggering like this. And if on the flip side, you do have wonderful nostalgic memories of your childhood, you did have wonderful parents who did encourage you to be curious, to be yourself, to be individual and to take initiative, then you can celebrate them today. Perhaps you want to write a letter to them. Perhaps you want to give them a call and let them know how much you love them. There's so many wonderful, wonderful people out there, parents, caregivers, grandparents, that you might want to think about that you had in your childhood that made a positive influence on your life, and you might want to reach out to them today and say thank you and appreciate them for all the wonderful things they did for you. So as I said, reread this in your own time, feel the feels, feel whatever comes up, and free write about your experience as it relates to today's passage. It might be a very, very therapeutic thing for you to do. So I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day on day 178 of the year. Thank you so much for being here, and I will check in with you tomorrow.